Vextar sat at his work desk, staring at the blue glow of his computer screen. His 4 arms moved quickly across different keyboards as he checked the daily reports. For 30 years, he had worked at the Galactic Census Bureau, counting populations and recording data from thousands of planets across the galaxy. It was boring work, but someone had to do it. The morning had been normal until now. He had processed reports from the peaceful water worlds of Aquanis, where the fish-like people lived in harmony under their crystal domes. Their biggest conflict in the past century was an argument about fishing rights that ended with a poetry contest. Total casualties, 0. Next came data from the warrior planet Ironhold, where the metal-skinned Rigelians lived for battle and honor. Even they, with all their fighting and challenges, had only recorded 3,000 combat deaths in the past 500 years. Most of those were from ceremonial duels that went too far. But this new report made no sense. Computer, check data integrity for file Sol 3, Vextar said, his voice echoing in the empty office. It was late in the work cycle and most of his colleagues had gone home to their families. The computer beeped softly. Data integrity confirmed. No errors detected. Vextar rubbed his large black eyes with 2 of his hands while his other 2 continued typing. The numbers on his screen seemed to mock him. Planet Sol 3, locally called Earth, by its inhabitants. Current population, 8.2 billion humanoid creatures. Total enemy casualties from military conflicts in the past 1,000 years, 847,312,445,891. That cannot be right, he whispered. The math was impossible. These humans had somehow killed over 800 billion enemies while having less than 9 billion people on their entire planet. Even if every single human was a soldier from birth to death, even if they did nothing but fight for their entire lives, the numbers did not work. Vextar pulled up comparison charts. The most violent species in recorded galactic history were the blood clans of Murder World Prime. They fought constantly, had no concept of peace, and considered dying in battle the highest honor. Their kill count over 1,000 years was impressive by galactic standards. 47,000 confirmed enemy casualties. Earth's number was 18 million times higher. There must be a decimal point error, Vextar muttered. He ran the data through every error-checking program the Bureau had. Each time the computer confirmed the same impossible result. Maybe these humans counted differently? Some species used base 12 number systems. Others counted in strange ways that confused the translation programs. But no, the data clearly showed standard galactic numbering format. Perhaps they counted animals as enemies? Some primitive worlds counted hunting kills in their military records. Vextar checked the subcategories. The report clearly separated wildlife management from hostile entity elimination. The 847 billion number was purely for what the humans classified as enemy combatants in military conflicts. Vextar's supervisor, a large blob-like creature named Glubmore, oozed into the office just as the night shift was beginning. His translucent body pulsed with tired yellow colors. Still here, Vextar? The data processing should have finished hours ago. Sir, we have a problem. Vextar rotated his screen so his supervisor could see the numbers. The Earth report shows impossible casualty figures. They claim to have killed 800 times more enemies than their total population. Glubmore's body turned a confused purple color as he absorbed the information. In his species, color changes showed emotions, and purple meant deep confusion mixed with disbelief. Run a full diagnostic on their reporting systems, Glubmore gurgled. These humans must have malfunctioning computers. No civilized species has casualty numbers like this. Even the extinct war cultures of the Omega sector never reached beyond a few million kills over their entire existence. I already ran every diagnostic we have. The data comes from multiple independent sources across their planet. Their military keeps very detailed records. Then they are lying, Glubmore declared, his body shifting to an annoyed red color. No species kills that many enemies and still exists. They would have made too many enemies. The entire galaxy would have united to stop them. But as Vextar dug deeper into Earth's files, stranger details emerged. The humans seemed completely unaware that their numbers were unusual. They filed their reports with the same casual tone other species used to report minor border skirmishes. One file described something called the Void Swarm Campaign. Vextar had heard of the Void Swarm, terrifying creatures that had plagued outer space colonies for thousands of years. Most species built better defenses and early warning systems to hide from them. According to Earth's report, humans had tracked down and destroyed every single Void Swarm nest across 17 star systems. Total kills, 43 billion individual swarm creatures. They wrote about it like it was a minor cleanup operation. Another report mentioned eliminating the carnivorous drift problem. The carnivorous drift were shape-shifting creatures that every spacefaring civilization knew to avoid. They lived in the empty spaces between stars and attacked ships that traveled alone. Earth's files showed they had hunted down every single drift creature in their local galactic region. Total kills, 12 billion entities. The humans described it as making space travel safer for everyone. By the time Vextar finished reading, his hands were shaking. Either these humans were the greatest liars in galactic history, or they were the most dangerous species ever encountered. The scary part was that their reports read like routine maintenance logs. "Sir," Vextar called to his supervisor, "I think we need to send an investigation team to Earth. Either their numbers are completely wrong, or we have a serious problem." Glubmore's body turned a worried gray color. What kind of problem? The kind where a single planet has somehow eliminated more threats than the rest of the galaxy combined, and they act like it is perfectly normal. 3 weeks later, a small investigation ship approached Earth's solar system. Vextar sat nervously in the pilot's chair next to his teammate, a tall crystal creature named Shard9 who worked as the Bureau's military conflict specialist. Behind them sat Dr. Bubbleton, a gas-based life form who studied different species' behavior patterns. "Remember," Shard9 said, her crystal body glowing with soft blue light, "we are here to help them fix their data errors. These humans probably just do not understand our reporting system properly." The ship received a communication signal as they approached Earth's moon. A human voice came through their translator devices, speaking in calm, professional tones. "Unknown vessel, this is Earth Defense Force Control. Please state your business in our solar system." "This is Galactic Census Bureau Investigation Team 12, Vextar responded. "We are here to help correct data reporting errors in your military records." There was a pause. Then the human voice returned, sounding slightly amused. "Roger that, Census Bureau. You are cleared to land at Seoul Spaceport. Captain Kim will meet you there." 20 minutes later, the three investigators found themselves sitting in a clean, white meeting room inside what the humans called the Earth Defense Force headquarters. The building was larger than most planetary government centers, which seemed odd for a world that supposedly had simple record-keeping problems. Captain Saman Kim entered the room wearing a dark blue uniform covered in small metal pins and ribbons. She was a middle-aged human female with short black hair and calm, intelligent eyes. What caught the investigators' attention immediately was the confidence in her walk. Most species' military officers moved carefully, always thinking about avoiding conflict. This human moved like someone who had never lost a fight. "Welcome to Earth," Captain Kim said, sitting across from them at the metal table. "I understand you have questions about our military records." "Yes," Vextar began carefully. "Your recent report shows casualty numbers that seem very high. We believe there may be some errors in how you count enemy deaths." Captain Kim smiled. It was not a mean smile, but it made all three investigators feel uncomfortable. "Which numbers specifically concern you?" "Well," Shard9 spoke up, her crystal body flickering nervously, "you reported over 40 billion kills during something called the Void Swarm campaign. That number seems impossible for any single planet to achieve." "Oh, that." Captain Kim pulled out a small device and projected a holographic display above the table. "Let me show you the mission reports." The display showed star maps with red dots marking battle locations. There were dozens of them, scattered across multiple solar systems. Each red dot had numbers beside it showing enemy ships destroyed and individual creatures killed. "The Void Swarm attacked our colony on Kepler 442c about 300 years ago," Captain Kim explained, pointing to different areas on the map. "They killed 200,000 colonists, including children." The investigators nodded. This was the kind of attack that most species dealt with by improving their defenses and warning systems. "So naturally, we tracked them back to their home systems and eliminated every single nest," Captain Kim continued. "It took 8 months, but we made sure they could never attack anyone again." Dr. Bubbleton's gaseous form turned a shocked yellow color. "You followed them? Across 17 star systems?" "Of course. Why would we let them go free to attack other people?" "But," Vextar stammered, "most species would have simply built better defenses after driving off the attack." Lieutenant Jaehyun Park, a younger human male, entered the room carrying more files. He had heard the conversation and laughed. "Build defenses? Why hide from a problem when you can solve it permanently?" "Solve it?" Shard9 asked. "The Void Swarm had been attacking peaceful colonies for thousands of years," Captain Kim said. Every species in the galaxy had developed ways to hide from them or run away. We decided to just kill them all instead. The three investigators sat in stunned silence. The Void Swarm had been one of the most feared threats in known space. Parents across hundreds of worlds told scary stories about them to children. Entire industries existed to build Void Swarm detection equipment and evacuation systems. These humans had simply hunted them to extinction like they were cleaning up trash. "This is just one example," Lieutenant Park said, opening another file. "Would you like to see the carnivorous drift elimination records? Or maybe the Blood Moon cult extermination reports?" "The carnivorous drift are extinct?" Dr. Bubbleton whispered. 3 years ago, Captain Kim confirmed. They were attacking trade ships in the neutral zone. Rather than just avoid those space routes like everyone else was doing, we developed new tracking technology and hunted down every single one of them. "But the carnivorous drift had been a known hazard for 10,000 years, Shard9 protested. "Every spacefaring civilization learned to work around them." "Every civilization learned to live in fear," Lieutenant Park corrected. "We learned that problems do not go away by themselves. You have to eliminate them." Vextar realized his hands were shaking again. "How many other species have you eliminated?" Captain Kim and Lieutenant Park exchanged a look. "How much time do you have?" Captain Kim asked. "The complete list is quite long. We have been busy." The investigators began to understand that they had not come to Earth to fix data errors. They had come to meet the most dangerous species in galactic history, and these humans had no idea how terrifying they were to everyone else. Admiral Yuna Choi walked slowly through the Earth Defense Force archives, her boots clicking on the polished metal floor. Behind her, the three alien investigators followed nervously, their eyes wide as they stared at the walls covered with battle flags and victory banners from conflicts they had never heard of. "Our military philosophy is very simple," Admiral Choi said, stopping in front of a massive stone wall carved with words in the human language. "We do not just win wars. We end them. Forever." Vextar stared at the carved words while his translator device worked to convert the meaning. The concept seemed alien to him. In his 30 years of studying galactic conflicts, he had never encountered a species that thought this way. Most civilizations fought until they could negotiate peace, build better defenses, or find ways to avoid the problem entirely. "When you say, end them forever, what exactly do you mean?" Dr. Bubbleton asked, his gaseous form shifting to a worried orange color. Commander Jinwoo Lee joined the group, carrying a thick electronic tablet filled with military records. He was a tall, serious-looking human with gray hair and scars on his hands that spoke of many battles. "Let me show you the quantum pirate situation," Commander Lee said, activating his tablet. A holographic display appeared above the device showing a map of space filled with red warning symbols. "The quantum pirates had been a problem for over 5,000 years, he explained. They could phase in and out of normal space dimensions which made them nearly impossible to catch. They would appear, attack cargo ships and passenger vessels, steal everything valuable, then disappear into dimensional space." Shard9 nodded, her crystal body glowing with recognition. "Yes, we know of them. Every space-traveling species developed special shields and travel in large groups to protect against quantum pirate attacks." "Exactly," Commander Lee said. "Everyone learned to live with the problem. But living with a problem is not solving it." The hologram changed to show detailed technical drawings of strange-looking weapons and detection equipment. "It took our scientists 12 years to develop face-tracking technology," Commander Lee continued. "Another 3 years to build weapons that could follow targets into dimensional space. Then we spent 2 years hunting down every single quantum pirate ship across 47 different dimensional pockets." "You followed them into other dimensions?" Vextar asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Of course. Just because they could hide in dimensional space did not mean they were safe from us." Admiral Choi opened another file on her own device. The same approach worked with the death cults of the Outer Rim. Other species would evacuate planets when the death cults arrived to perform their ritual sacrifices. Some civilizations even built decoy planets to keep the death cults busy while real populations hid. "That sounds like intelligent defensive strategy," Dr. Bubbleton offered. "That sounds like letting murderers kill innocent people," Admiral Choi corrected firmly. "We tracked the death cults back to their home systems, studied their religious patterns and eliminated their entire command structure. Without leaders, the remaining cult members scattered and gave up their violent ways." Commander Lee pulled up another file. The hive mind clusters were interesting. They would take over entire planets by assimilating the local populations into their collective consciousness. Most species just marked those worlds as lost and built warning beacons around them. The hive minds were considered unstoppable, Shard 9 said. They could absorb any attack and use the knowledge against future attackers. They were unstoppable until we developed quantum disruption weapons, Commander Lee said with a slight smile. It turns out that hive minds become very confused when you scramble their quantum communication frequencies. We freed 17 worlds from hive mind control and destroyed the original cluster centers. The investigators were beginning to notice a pattern. Every story followed the same structure. Galactic threat appears, other species develop ways to hide or avoid the threat, humans develop ways to completely destroy the threat. Do you ever consider negotiation? Dr. Bubbleton asked hopefully. With species that attack innocent people? Admiral Choi shook her head. Would you negotiate with someone who was trying to kill your children? But surely some conflicts can be resolved through diplomacy, Vextar insisted. Commander Lee opened another file. The Parasite Lords sent us a diplomatic message 50 years ago. They wanted to discuss how to divide up the galaxy's population for their feeding needs. They offered to leave Earth alone if we allowed them to continue harvesting other worlds. What did you do? Shard 9 asked, though she was beginning to fear the answer. We sent them a reply message, Admiral Choi said calmly. It contained the coordinates for their home world and a countdown timer showing how long they had before we arrived to eliminate them. 12 hours, Commander Lee added. We wanted to be fair. The three investigators stared in horror. The Parasite Lords had enslaved dozens of worlds and consumed billions of people over thousands of years. The Galactic Council had spent centuries trying to find diplomatic solutions to the Parasite Lord problem. You killed them all in 12 hours? Vextar whispered. 11 hours and 43 minutes, Commander Lee corrected. We finished early. Admiral Choi closed her files and looked directly at each investigator. Every species you consider a manageable threat, we consider a problem to be solved. While other civilizations learn to live in fear, we eliminate the things that cause fear. But what if you make mistakes? Dr. Bubbleton asked. What if you attack someone who could have been peaceful? We are very careful about our intelligence gathering, Admiral Choi replied. But species that attack innocent people have already shown their true nature. We do not give them second chances to hurt others. As they walked back through the archives, Vextar realized something that made his blood run cold. All those mysterious disappearances of hostile species across the galaxy, events that other civilizations celebrated as lucky coincidences, had been human military operations. Humanity had been quietly protecting the entire galaxy, and no one had realized it. Dr. Hannah Yoon led the three alien investigators through a different section of the Earth Defense Force building. This area felt different from the military archives they had seen before. The walls were covered with star charts, and computer screens showed complex data from across the galaxy. It looked more like a science laboratory than a military command center. This is our threat analysis division, Dr. Yoon explained as they walked past busy human workers studying holographic displays. We monitor dangerous situations across the galaxy and determine which ones need our attention. Vextar noticed that many of the displays showed locations far from Earth's solar system. You monitor threats to other worlds? Of course, Dr. Yoon said as if this was completely normal. Dangerous species do not stay in one place. If something is a threat to us, it is probably a threat to our neighbors too. She stopped at a large computer terminal and began pulling up files. The first one showed a detailed report about something called the Parasite Lords situation. The Parasite Lords were harvesting populations from rim worlds for about 300 years, Dr. Yoon said, pointing to red markers scattered across a star map. Every few months, an entire planet's population would just disappear. The Galactic Council kept sending investigation teams, but they never found any answers. Shard 9 remembered those reports. Her crystal body flickered with recognition. Those disappearances were classified as unexplained phenomena. The Council's official position was that some unknown natural disaster was causing mass evacuations. Not natural disasters, Dr. Yoon corrected. The Parasite Lords had developed advanced cloaking technology and were essentially farming sentient beings like livestock. They would take entire populations to their hidden breeding facilities. Dr. Bubbleton turned a confused gray color. But the disappearances stopped about 50 years ago. The Council celebrated it as proof that the universe was becoming more peaceful. The disappearances stopped because we tracked down 47 Parasite Lord facilities and eliminated every single one, Dr. Yoon said matter-of-factly. It took 3 years of work, but we could not let them continue kidnapping entire civilizations. She opened another file. The Blood Moon cult raids ended around the same time. Every few years, they would attack peaceful worlds and sacrifice millions of people in their religious ceremonies. Other species built early warning systems and evacuation protocols. The Blood Moon attacks were a fact of life for Outer Rim civilizations, Vextar said. Everyone knew to watch for the signs and evacuate when the Blood Moon ships appeared. Everyone accepted that millions of innocent people would die regularly, Dr. Yoon replied. We did not accept that. The files showed detailed battle plans and strike reports. Human forces had tracked the Blood Moon cult across multiple star systems, studying their religious patterns and predicting their next targets. Instead of evacuating potential victims, Earth's military had set traps. We eliminated their entire fleet in a coordinated strike across 12 systems, Dr. Yoon continued. Same day, same time. They never saw it coming. Major Hyunwoo Nam joined them at the computer terminal. He was a middle-aged human with calm eyes and hands that moved quickly across the keyboard as he pulled up more files. The viral swarms were interesting, Major Nam said. They would consume all organic matter on a planet, turn it into more viral creatures, then spread to nearby systems. The standard galactic response was to quarantine infected areas and hope the swarms would eventually run out of food. Quarantine was the only option, Dr. Bubbleton protested. The viral swarms could not be stopped. They adapted to every weapon used against them. They could adapt to conventional weapons, Major Nam agreed. But they had never encountered quantum sterilization bombs. We developed the technology specifically to destroy organic matter at the molecular level. He showed them a map with dozens of star systems marked in different colors. Green systems were successfully sterilized and are now safe for recolonization. Yellow systems are still being cleaned. We should finish the last few infected worlds within 2 years. Vextar stared at the map in shock. The viral swarms had been considered one of the most dangerous forces in the galaxy. Entire sectors had been abandoned because of viral infection. Now this human was talking about it like a cleaning project. The shadow fleets were probably our most challenging assignment, Dr. Yoon said, opening yet another file. They lived in dark matter storms and would emerge randomly to attack any ships or planets they encountered. No one could predict where they would appear next. Shadow fleet attacks were completely random, Shard9 said. Every spacefaring species just accepted that some ships would be lost to shadow fleet raids. It was considered an unavoidable cost of space travel. Random attacks stopped being random once we figured out how to track dark matter disturbances, Major Nam explained. It took us 15 years to develop the detection technology, but eventually we could predict where shadow fleets would emerge 3 days in advance. We set up ambushes, Dr. Yoon added. Every time a shadow fleet tried to attack innocent ships, they found Earth Defense Force battle groups waiting for them instead. As the investigators reviewed file after file, a terrible understanding began to form in their minds. Every mysterious disappearance of hostile species, every unexplained end to galactic threats, every lucky break that had made space safer over the past few centuries, all of it had been human military operations. You have been protecting the entire galaxy, Vextar whispered. We have been solving problems, Dr. Yoon corrected. While other species learned to live with threats, we eliminated the threats. But no one knew, Dr. Bubbleton said, his gaseous form turning a shocked white color. We did not do it for recognition, Major Nam replied. We did it because it needed to be done. The investigators realized they were looking at the galaxy's greatest secret. Humanity had become its guardian species, and they had done it so quietly that no one had noticed. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from over 1,000 worlds sat in their curved seating areas, staring at the 3 investigators who stood at the center of the massive room. The chamber's dome ceiling showed the swirling colors of deep space, but no one was looking up at the pretty lights. Vextar held his report tablet with all 4 hands, trying to stop them from shaking. In his 30 years of working for the Census Bureau, he had never delivered news this important or this frightening. Council members, Vextar began, his voice echoing through the silent chamber, our investigation of Sol 3 designation Earth has been completed. The casualty numbers in their military reports were not errors. A wave of nervous chittering and gasping sounds rippled through the audience. Council leader Mektor, a large creature with multiple tentacles and ancient wisdom in his deep purple eyes, gestured for silence. Explain, Mektor said simply. Earth has indeed eliminated over 847 billion hostile entities in the past millennium, Vextar continued. Their population-to-kill ratio is 103 to 1. However, we have discovered something far more significant than these numbers. Dr. Bubbleton floated forward, his gaseous form glowing with nervous energy. Earth has been unknowingly serving as the galaxy's guardian species. Every extinct hostile entity in their records represents a threat that no longer endangers peaceful civilizations. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Representatives from dozens of species began talking at once, their translation devices creating a chaos of overlapping conversations. Some sounded frightened, others amazed, and a few seemed angry. Order! Mektor boomed, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had led the council for over 2 centuries. Let them finish their report. Shard9 stepped forward, her crystal body pulsing with serious blue light. The void swarm that terrorized outer colonies for millennia, extinct, eliminated by human forces 300 years ago. The carnivorous drift that made space travel dangerous, extinct, hunted down by human military operations. The parasite lords who enslaved entire worlds, extinct, destroyed in coordinated human strikes. She paused, letting the information sink in. The Blood Moon cult, the Death cults, the viral swarms, the shadow fleets, the quantum pirates, all extinct. All eliminated by Earth's military forces. Representative Glubzix from the peaceful water world of Aquanis raised a tentacle. Are you saying that all those mysterious disappearances of hostile species were human military actions? Correct, Vextar confirmed. While other civilizations developed defensive measures, early warning systems, and evacuation protocols, Earth developed elimination protocols. They do not hide from threats, they destroy threats completely. Representative Kethmon from the Andromedans floated higher in his chair. This is terrifying news. A single world with this much destructive capability could threaten the entire galaxy. Could they? Dr. Bubbleton asked. Our investigation shows that Earth has had this capability for centuries. They could have conquered dozens of worlds by now. Instead, they have only attacked species that pose threats to innocent people. Council leader Mektor's tentacles writhed thoughtfully. What is Earth's official position on their military activities? They are unaware that their actions are unusual, Shard9 replied. From their perspective, they are simply solving problems that everyone else chooses to ignore. They seem genuinely confused that other species prefer to live in fear rather than eliminate threats. Representative Zorbek from the warrior world of Ironhold stood up, his metal-plated body reflecting the chamber's lights. Even my people who live for battle and honor have never achieved elimination numbers like this. These humans fight differently than any species we have encountered. How do they fight differently? Mektor asked. They do not fight for territory, resources, or glory, Vextar explained. They fight to solve problems permanently. When they engage an enemy, their goal is not victory, it is extinction. The chamber fell silent again as representatives absorbed this information. Many species had encountered humans in recent decades through trade and diplomatic contact. They had seemed like a pleasant enough species, intelligent, curious, and generally peaceful in their interactions. Learning that these same peaceful humans had quietly eliminated every major galactic threat was deeply unsettling. What do you recommend? Mektor asked the investigation team. Vextar looked at his colleagues, then back at the council. We recommend official recognition of Earth's role as a guardian species. Whether we intended it or not, Earth has become the galaxy's immune system, identifying and eliminating existential threats that other civilizations cannot handle. And if we do not recognize them? Representative Kethmon asked nervously. Then we risk turning the galaxy's most effective protectors into its most dangerous enemies, Dr. Bubbleton replied. Earth's military doctrine is very simple: eliminate threats completely. We do not want to become classified as a threat. Council leader Mektor raised his tentacles for attention. The council will vote. All in favor of designating Sol 3 as a guardian world, with official recognition as the galaxy's preemptive extinction specialists. The vote was not even close. Nearly every representative raised their hand, tentacle, crystal formation, or gas cloud in agreement. Motion passed, Mektor announced. Sol 3 classification, guardian world. Status: the galaxy's only preemptive extinction specialists. He paused, looking directly at the investigation team. Recommendation: never, under any circumstances, threaten Earth, Vextar said quietly. They do not just defend, they eradicate. Captain Saman Kim watched the council proceedings from Earth's newly installed embassy booth, smiling quietly. Humanity had finally received its proper recognition in galactic records, not as conquerors, but as the species willing to eliminate the threats everyone else had learned to fear.